Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jennifer Harkdietz, and I am the Executive Director of PATH. I'd like to welcome you to PATH's monthly PATH Presents at the Forefront. Our last topic was 2020, the year of the essential worker. And this month, in celebration of Women's History Month, we're excited to present a special episode created by women and dedicated to women experiencing homelessness. During this conversation, PATH staff, participants, and partners will reflect on the unique barriers that women experiencing homelessness face. Please be aware, this discussion may include a number of sensitive topics as we really dive into the unique and often scary situations women encounter when living on the street. We also want to let you all know that PATH serves all women, whether they are trans or cisgender, single, or have children. It is crucial that we are inclusive of the broad range of women's experiences. If you've been joining us for almost a year now, you know that these At the Forefront episodes are so important to accomplishing PATH's mission to end homelessness for individuals, families, and communities. And if you are new, welcome. At the Forefront is our way of educating people on the facts about homelessness, its causes, and advocating for solutions to ending homelessness. We consistently realize that providing services and helping people find homes is critical. But in order to end homelessness, we need to change the system that's causing it. So today's episode title is Her Journey Back Home. And before we start the conversation, we'd love to start out by showing a quick video to introduce you to Renee, a young mother who worked with our team at PATH Santa Barbara to secure safe housing for herself and her newborn daughter.
My name is Renee, and I'm a client with PATH, and this is Aurora, and she's 2 weeks old. I was born and raised in Santa Barbara. I have a past of being an addict and being on the streets. The day that I found out that I got the apartment, I cried because it was a huge burden that was lifted. I don't have to struggle anymore. I don't have to be surrounded with chaos. I can shut my door and be okay. PATH has been there and helped me throughout the entire time. They are a huge part of why I was able to do what I'm doing now. And there's no way I could have been able to get into a place as fast as I did without them. There's no way that I would have seen my own potential without the counseling that I've had. It's a gift for me to be able to be a mom again.
Renee's story is just one of so many women that PATH is serving on a yearly basis. And while, we wish we didn't have to because homelessness is such a catastrophic crisis, we want to share with you today what it really means to be in the life of folks living out on the street. So I'm going to introduce you to a few of our partners and staff. I'd like to start out with Tesha Uribe, who is our Chief Program Officer. Zandre Johnson, who has multiple roles within the organization. She serves on our PATH board. She is a PATH Ventures tenant and was a former housing of our interim housing program, so she really knows all about PATH. And Yvette Lopez Cooper, who is the Executive Director of the Family Justice Center. So thank you all for being here with us today to really share really this experience of what it's like for a woman. And Yvette, I'm going to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Family Justice Center and your important mission serving women and families? And then what are the challenges that your clients often face?
Sure, certainly. Thank you, Jennifer and PATH, for this really kind invitation and for bringing awareness to this important issue during Women's History Month. The San Diego Family Justice Center is a safe and confidential space for victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and sex trafficking. We are part of the San Diego City Attorney's Office. We are a comprehensive agency that provides wraparound services to individuals experiencing domestic violence. And we support individuals on their path to healing and safety. We do this by partnering with numerous agencies, by providing legal services, counseling, forensic medical examination, among other services. Our advocates assist individuals to find emergency housing, and we also help individuals prepare safety planning. In essence, we are here to help individuals move from a crisis situation to a hopeful one. some of the challenges that we are seeing with victims of domestic violence and homeless women experiencing domestic violence are enormous challenges. Individuals that are suffering from traumatic experience may need long-term therapy. They may be dependent on their abuser for financial support, so they might need public benefits to help them on their path to self-sufficiency. And for many of our women clients, home is the location where the harm and violence often occurs. And so that definitely is not a safe place for them. So finding emergency housing, transitional housing, affordable housing to ensure their safety is absolutely critical.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Yvette, and for what you all are doing as well to help them address these barriers, which we'll get into a little bit more. Next, I'm going to go to Zandre. As an advocate and woman who has experienced homelessness, can you share a bit about your background and some of the hurdles you've overcome and seen other women overcome?
Yes, my background is intense, but I was introduced to PATH as a way to find myself a balance. And once I got there and I got housing, I became a speak up advocate. That's just part of my background. But my difficulties was I had been incarcerated, and I'm a formerly incarcerated as well as formerly homeless. And being incarcerated sometimes bring barriers that don't allow you to get housing or to get certain jobs. So I had a difficult time trying to accept those things that were put in front of me, but with the counseling and the help that I got from PATH, I was able to endure and fight through those barriers so that I can come out on a very positive end. And today that's what I'm in a very positive place and a very positive life and a very happy life and a very joyful life. And I'm so grateful and so thankful for the help that I received.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And, I've heard your story many times and just always appreciate your openness because I think it helps strengthen other women to share the stories that they've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I'm going to go into Tesha, and, you oversee a number of PATH's programs that are dedicated to women and families across the state, including some of those, throughout Los Angeles and Orange County. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those projects and how they're designed to really assist with the unique challenges that the population, really the women, face at those sites?
Sure. So I think it's important to start off with mentioning that homelessness in of itself is a traumatic experience. And the longer that you're left out on the street to fend for yourself, the more that trauma builds and the more difficult it is to quote unquote reintegrate into society. Women face a particularly higher level of challenges in that they often have to survive by depending on men or others who may take advantage of and or abuse them. What really brought this to light for me is a couple years ago when we opened up a women's only shelter in partnership with the YWCA of Los Angeles. There was one young woman, she was about 20 years old, and she came in, and the first thing we noticed is that if a male staff walked by, as nice as that male staff was, she cowered in a corner until he passed. And understanding the vulnerability, the trauma that these women have experienced has changed the way that I view any type of program that we develop. We see the capacity for a lot of healing and growth when we are able to operate women's only shelters, such as the YWCA. We also have a site, Casa Azul in Los Angeles, where it's individual women and women with children, where they're able to be safe, work through the trauma, experience a safe, caring environment. However, there's such a shortage of women-only sites. Recently, we opened a 425-bed shelter in the city of Santa Ana. And there were about 15 women who transitioned from a women's only domestic violence shelter that was shutting down into a mixed population shelter. And understanding how scary and difficult that was for them, we have ensured that we have male staff only that work, female staff only that work within their sleeping area. They have their own private outdoor space that's gated off. And we've arranged our food services in a way so that until they feel safe interacting with a large group of people, that they're able to have security. I think that often women's issues go unmentioned and unacknowledged. And so I am happy to be a part of PATH where we focus on that.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Good.
much, Tasha, and highlighting, some of the changes that you all have to do on the program side to really make sure that women do feel safe, and particularly in new environments where we might not know yet until the women start to come in and we start to see the flow of traffic and passageways. So appreciate that so much.
Mhm.
So, we've discussed the challenges. Now I'm going to turn our panel over to the solutions. And, kind of for whoever'd like to go first, just what needs to be done to help women experiencing homelessness move off the streets and into a permanent home? And then what can the larger community do to support?
Okay, I'd like to step in there. My strong belief is, because of my own experience of two decades of being homeless and 28 years in and out of the criminal justice system, one of the things that I had to learn to do was build trust. And a lot of times women who are out there, like my former self, the trust is not there. Like when someone tells us something we absolutely don't trust. And so having a entity such as PATH that helps you to build that trust back, along with, the integrities that come along with the work that's being done, and being patient and allowing that woman to transit into the understanding that you're not there to hurt or harm her, I think is a real major player for all from Section 8 to shelters to just getting in your own apartment. You have to have people involved that care enough and they have the empathetic heart to understand that patience is very, very important, because when you're living out there, you're living a certain way of survival. And then you get a key to a front door and you're supposed to survive in that apartment as though you know how to live in it. That's not the real world. The real world is that you have to be kind of like, inched into that. And you're going to go through some trauma, being totally alone and not knowing what to do with the things that are in the apartment to use. You're going to need case managers to help you navigate through the pain, because once you get your place, the trauma resurfaces on how you got homeless anyway. You know what I mean? And so you need someone to help you through that when you're going through those different mindsets. And so I always just thought that everyone that's employed to do this job need to always have an empathetic heart and patience, because it takes that to take a woman like me, coming from all the background and trauma that I went through, to be able to trust you enough to allow you to help me to this better life that I have today. And that's how I feel.
Thank you. Does another panelist want to share?
I'll jump in. I couldn't agree more. Trust is absolutely essential to the entire process of healing and recovery. I think it's important for everyone that we recognize that everyone needs to be involved in, especially with domestic violence cases and with women experiencing domestic violence. And it's important, especially during this time, during this public health crisis, for women to know that there are resources out there. I know with our center at the San Diego Family Justice Center, we're providing critical support every single day for victims experiencing and women experiencing domestic violence. Since 2002, we have worked with the San Diego Police Department, city and county district attorneys to hold abusers accountable. And we also recognize the importance of mental health resources. Access to justice also is extremely important. Connecting individuals to pro bono attorneys that could help them file protection orders if they want to. Many of our women clients are also eligible to apply for the California Victims Compensation Board to receive benefits for relocation expenses, among other benefits. At our center, we're able to connect individuals to advocates to help them on this process. But without trust, it's really difficult to go forward. And it's a personal choice. Survivor autonomy. The last thing we want to do is control the situation for them.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Yvette. And Tasha, you want to finish us off for this question?
Sure. I also think it's important on a systems level to define what trust looks like, because we're talking about, both the other panelists mentioned that trust is the key to it. How does trust build when our system is designed to bounce people from worker to worker or program to program? And so how do we design programs where if someone like Zandre connects to someone like me as a worker, that I'm able to continue to support her through the system? I think that that's a big gap, because what I constantly see is people bouncing around and never really getting to build that trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting, all three of you, from the personal experience to really that systems level, kind of 30,000 foot experience. I am just so honored to be able to celebrate Women's History Month with all of you today. And thank you for the incredible work that you do, lifting women up through what we know can be extremely painful journeys. So thank you again for joining us. So next, we are going to highlight a new family interim housing site that will be coming online in PATH up in San Jose soon, called Evans Lane. So thanks once again.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Evans Lane. My name is Laura Sandoval. I'm the Director of Programs for PATH in San Jose, and I'm so excited to be talking to you from one of our newest programs. We're still under construction, as you may be able to see. Once this community is complete, we're going to be opening our doors, creating 48 cabins to provide bridge housing services to families who are currently experiencing homelessness in San Jose. While we may not be open quite yet, our service teams are already out in the field, meeting families, learning their stories, and getting to build plans with people and best figure out how we can serve their unique needs.
That's just a sneak peek of Evans Lane coming online soon, hosted by Laura Sandoval, our Director of Programs up in the San Jose region. So we cannot wait for it to be open and to bring more families inside. So once again, I'd like to thank all of our participants today, Tesha, Yvette, and Zandre, for sharing your insight and your experiences. If you'd like to learn more about the Family Justice Center's mission and their critical programs serving the San Diego community, please check them out online at thefamilyjusticecenter.org. Of course, to learn more about PATH services for women and families, join us at epath.org. And we have a big shout out, a big call out for Evans Lane families today. If you want to send a welcome home greeting to one of the families at Evans Lane, you can follow the tiny URL at the bottom of the screen. And I'd like to always thank the Golan Group for their support in producing the At the Forefront series. We really couldn't do it without you. Next month, we look forward to seeing you again virtually in May for our next At the Forefront episode, A Home is a Right, Not a Privilege, for a discussion around housing equity, or all too often inequity, and how homelessness is perpetuated as a result. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you in May.